I have having journeyed from bench chemist to the patent law expert and educator to a public health advocate. I have come to understand that leadership in today's world must blend compassion with strategy and vision with accountability. So in the boardroom, I see myself contributing meaningfully to ethical and inclusive governance.
Hello and welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, a podcast series by Directors Institute, World Council of Directors, where we sit down with some of the most insightful minds shaping the future of business and governance. Today, I'm joined by someone whose name resonates across pharmaceutical innovation, intellectual property, and public health leadership, Dr. Krishnaji Rao. Over the past 3 decades, Dr. Rao has worn many hats, from leading advanced R&D and patent strategy at Divis Laboratories to championing national advocacy for rare diseases to mentoring the next generation of pharmaceutical scientists. Dr. Rao, we are honored to have you with us today. What's truly remarkable is how your career brings together scientific depth and policy influence, academic engagement, and real world implications, all grounded in a deep commitment to impact. Welcome to the show, sir. So let's begin.
Yeah.
Dr. Rao, beyond the accolades, the Udyog Ratna, the gold medal, the patents, there's a journey that only you've truly lived. When you think about your career, not the titles, but the experiences, what's the story you tell yourself? How did it all really unfold for you?
Yeah. Thank you for the kind introduction. I'm happy to be here. Looking forward to our discussions. And it has been a fulfilling journey. I have always believed that science should serve both industry and society at large. So, yeah. Actually, my journey starts from a pill to a purpose. So, my life mission was born from a childhood experience. When I was suffering from a severe infectious disease for nearly about a week, when a doctor gave me a pill that cured me completely. In those days, doctors sought out patients, not the other way around. Grateful and curious, then I visited the doctor to thank him. He said something that you must thank the person who made this medicine. I can only treat a few patients. But if you want to save the world, you must make the medicine. Those words became the foundation of my life's purpose. After completing my PUC, I joined Manipal Academy of General Education. Now we call it the MAHE, Manipal Academy of Higher Education. Then pursued my B.Pharm and M.Pharm, and it is the beginning of my journey. There is a nice story behind why I chose the pharmacy as my profession for my life. So during my counseling for medical counseling, I got selected even for the MBBS. But in the counseling process, they asked me a question. What do you want to be? What is your aim of your life? I said, I want to make medicine. And the counseling dean, the faculty surprised. What? You want to make a medicine? You want to join MBBS and you want to make a medicine? Yes, sir. I want to make a medicine. You know what is the doctor's job? Yes, sir, I know doctor's job. Doctor makes medicines. He's surprised. What doctors make medicines? Yes, sir. Charaka is the one who started in Ayurveda. He started making medicine and serving the people.
Right.
The first Indian physician. That was my beginning of my journey. Then he surprised. He was very curious in the counseling, said, okay, there is a nearby college, which is about 5 minutes walk. Can you go and find out whether the college fits for your education? Then I went to that college. That is the College of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Manipal.
Right.
When I went to that college, I saw in the notice board, there is something says like this. There is a training program allotted for so and so people in the IDPL, Indian Drugs Manufacturing Limited, that is in Hyderabad. There is about capsules, tablets, injectables like that. Then I thought, okay, this must be a course where I am looking for. Then immediately I rushed to my counseling chamber and said, sir, I want to join pharmacy. That's how I just went to, my study started in pharmacy curriculum. I did my B.Pharm and M.Pharm, and, I did a lot of student activities. And actually the Manipal Academy of Higher Education taught me not just as, academics, it taught me a good leadership because I interacted with the UGC Commission, where, as a student, I interacted, and that was the seeding for the Manipal to become Manipal General Academy of Education to become Manipal Academy of Higher Education.
Right.
That sense of achievement made me something different in my life. So that institute taught me a leadership rather than purely education.
Right.
So at that time, there was not much of job offerings in the industry because I pharmacy background. There are several disciplines are there in the industry, but that anyway. Let me start. So I joined a company in Hyderabad in 1995. Then after my completion of M.Pharm, then during the late 90s, while working in the lab, I encountered several patent challenges. At that time, there was no immediate remedies. So I took the initiative to visit the Chennai IPR office. There is a Chennai office. So there I met Sri N.R. Subram, who is ex-controller, the controller of patents, who introduced me the world of intellectual property rights. Because I believe if you want to know something about taxes, better to ask the IT officer than anyone.
Agreed.
Who knows much better than anyone. So with that intention, that he guided me. There are wonderful. This is the one what you changed my entire patent strategic approach in my pharma industry. This is very useful for because I want to share that point. He said, he said, okay, you want to pursue career in patent office or in courts, you have to do my bachelor's degree in law. Then if you want to pursue with practicing as a patent agent, you must have a patent agent examination. There is a licensed course where you get a license to practice. But thirdly, if you want to learn about US patent laws, you have to separately learn at European patent laws and all these things. There is again a separate curriculum is there. Then finally he said, then my question is, how I have to do all these things? Sir, can I protect my invention without patenting it? He said, yes, but it is a risky affair. But if your heart says, if your mind says you want to be ethical at your governance, ethical at your inventions, you can protect for lifetime. That is a trade secret. So with that advice, inputs, that changed my entire life and the thought process. So I pursued this patent agent courses. At that time, there was only one institute, that is in Alsar, Hyderabad. I did my PG diploma there, and we were so lucky that at that time the chief guest was Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, being spending time on the stage, he wanted the student. He wants to interact with the students. Then he asked the students one question: how many patent cases are pending at Supreme Court? Can anybody tell? I said, sir, 0 cases. I stood up and said. Then he's surprised. How you know? Sir, I searched for it. There is no case. Because there is no product patent regime in India, which is not being enforced. There is only process patent regime. There is no product patent cases in there. Then he's surprised. He gave some more questions. As a students, we used to interact with him, and he was the president. We are very fortunate that India has such a great personality where the student can interact with the man of India. So, at a long story short, I later that learning made me to faculty at various levels. That I became a faculty for Pharma, which is Pharmacy Export Council of India, where they concentrating only on exports and facilitate the exports from India. So it is under Ministry of Commerce and Industry. I became a faculty there and started educating industry. So all these things, going on. But my real life started, but that is again purely in academic line.
Right.
Then later, that again further I did my PhD to improve my quality of my, approach and everything. So they all went well. Then, but later in somewhere in the 2009, a tragic case changed the course of my work forever. A 21-year-old girl from a rural village from Nagaram, that is a part of Andhra Pradesh. There is due to delayed diagnosis happened. Why? Well, then later it was confirmed as a muscular dystrophy by the medical genetics department. That happened at NIMS. It was
Right.
the first time I truly encountered a rare disease. I realized that medical genetics was not in the standard of medical curriculum,
Right.
and delays in diagnosis were common. This sparked my dedication towards the cause of the rare diseases in those days.
Right.
Then I started contributing for the noble cause. That for my struggle, for my approaching the magistrates and district collectors and all these things, the people of Vijayanagaram, they facilitated me with a Dr. Krishnaji Rao, although I was not a medical doctor. That was happened in the year 2010. That any award, I feel it is not a something to share, but it is something to take the responsibility. From then, that recognition reflected the hope from serving science and service. I came to believe that
Right.
problems are the mothers of innovation. That changed entirely my mindset. I embraced my life as a student, seeing societal challenges as opportunities for scientific solutions.
Right.
And that's transformed my life. And that made me, lifelong scholar and educator. And again, I had a chance to participate at the global meetings. There is a chance to give the dialogue to the WHO, World Health Assembly, where, there is a need for making it equity to the people suffering from rare diseases. So all these opportunities I had during that journey. And basically, again, later I just became a servant to the society and listening to the patient stories have been my, greatest, they are all becoming greatest teachers of my life. Since 2012, I have deeply involved in understanding the global law surrounding the rare diseases. I
Okay.
discovered that Indian Patent Act, particularly Section 3D, has similarities with the US Orphan Drug Act, especially concerning patentability of novel orphan drugs. So despite this, many things remain as unsatisfactory. There
Right.
is still no clear definition of rare disease in India, a lack of medicines, only around 500 available for approximately 8,000 unknown rare diseases.
Right.
But the hackathon happened in somewhere in Barcelona, where I was a part of it. 40,000 diseases when it was subjected for the hackathon. There were only 4 diseases were diagnosed. That was the situation even in the globally when it is undiagnosed. So then what happened? No, then there is an urgent need for rare disease education among the medical professionals. There is
Right.
no genetic subject in the medical curriculum. You need to learn, basically in this particular rare disease community, you need to learn from the patient narratives to drive better diagnosis and solutions.
Right.
And need for making affordable orphan drugs in India to make them available for the Indian patients living with rare diseases.
Right.
Understanding the complexity, a single man running around and it's not possible. Then I searched for it. Then there was a great personality. His name is Professor Ramaya, Dr. Ramaya from Minnesota University, who is working on the rare diseases.
Right.
Then I joined my hands with him. And further, but again, 2 to 3 people is not enough. It needs a bigger voice.
Right.
So then further we approached President APJ, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, who generously lent his voice and vision to his cause. Then later with Dr. Kalam, we released a white paper on rare disease and orphan drugs. That was the first white paper released in our country.
Wow.
That led to now, happy to share that, led to know that the national policy on rare diseases and orphan drugs. Integrating commerce, later we started integrating commerce, commerce ministry, health ministry, and science. That's going on. But again, the problems remains same. There is a lot of challenges to be met and to be met, and there is much complexities, challenges to face.
Right.
There at this time, then I wanted to learn more about it, what is happening global scenario. Then I started mastering the AI. So again, when an Indian scenario comes, AI tells me my name or Dr. Professor Ramaya name or something, IORD, Indian Organization for Rare Diseases, nothing beyond that. We are happy that whatever is we have, in the journey we pass, these are all because of, whatever is documented, that's all the AI can give. So the AI cannot, did not serve much purpose in terms of even rare diseases in our country. So that's all, it is from my pill to the noble cause. That's
Global
all I can
cause.
say, yeah.
Wow, that's so beautifully put, Dr. Rao, and I really appreciate how you openly shared your life story with us. And it's one thing to read a resume, but it's another to understand the why behind the journey. So thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
Dr. Rao, your research on applications of enzymes in chiral resolutions really stood out to me. Not
Yeah.
just because how
Yes.
technical
Yes.
or advanced it was for its time, but because I could sense the depth of curiosity behind it. So, if we go back to that chapter of your
Yes.
journey, what was driving you there?
Yeah. Yeah, it's very quite interesting. I must share a story in my experiences to, why I started this. Once I attended one global conference that's happened to be in Hyderabad, where, after the conference, the panel discussion, there was a question answer sessions.
Right.
So I got up and said, I introduced myself. I'm Krishnaji Rao. I'm a chemist working in a pharma company. I would like to know what are the challenges you face Indian pharma companies from when it's changing from process patents to product patents.
Mm-hmm.
In the panel, one of the panel member, he asked me, you said your name Krishna. Okay, Dr. Krishnaji Rao. Then when he mentioned doctor, that, that brought back, so I'm not a technically a doctor, a PhD holder to be called as a doctor. So something, okay, then that reminded me, okay, I must do some PhD program, for that. So during that time, I have something like an ambition that I must create a world record. Only one way to world record for any scientific community to do PhD and get the PhD done. That itself is a world record. Because you
Wow.
have publications, you have everything. That means you are only the one in the world who discovered it or invented it.
Right.
So that world record, the sense of world record made me know to approach, do PhD in the industry. But how one can do PhD in the industry? It's not that easy because in
Mhm.
PhDs usually will be given with academic institutions or CSR labs or where there is a central laboratories where, it is recognized PhD recognition under this particular recognized universities.
Right.
But how a industrial person can do a PhD while working in the industry? That was a big challenge in those days. Then I wrote to DST, DSR, to understand how the things happen. Then to understand, long story short, there is a need for recognition by the DST, DSR, by the, Department of Science and Industrial Research departments for, recognizing the DSR lab for any R&D center. Then
Right.
later we have to get an approval from the university to get a university degree. But because
Mhm.
since I'm a pharmacy person, pharmaceutical sciences specialty person, there is only one university which is in state of Telangana now. It's in Kakati University, Warangal.
Okay.
So Hyderabad is again, since it comes under that. So I approached the Kakati University Warangal. Then I represented myself, so I want to do this thing. Then they said we have to inspect the R&D, whether you have facilities to conduct. And finally, we got the recognition for my research center got recognized by the Kakati University Warangal to carry out the research program. But that is all fine. That is all only recognition part, which is, purely this thing. But again, there are several questions on, how there is something like HWs, how I have to do, where I have to do, what is my topic, all these
Right.
things started. Then
Right.
how for that I need again research topic. So research topic in industry doesn't work like academy. Industry has to, solve the day-to-day problems in the industry, and it should be at a large scale we have to do. Your research
Right.
should result in the commercial commerce, basically the commerce. So with that thing, I started, searching for a research topic.
Mhm.
So that once what happened was when there was a customer visit by the European pharma companies. So the customer asked, he was more emphasizing on ESGs in those days. About this is about 2.5 decades back. I'm
Right.
sharing.
Right.
So ESG, that's social governance and all these things. Then how these things practices. Then what is the atom economy? How you're any projects you are doing it without doing any organic solvents and industrial hazards things. So many
Right.
questions asked by the during the customer audit process. So that made me to think in those lines at that time.
Right.
So only one way to do what reactions happens in our, then we start being a pharmaceutical person. I started visualizing how chemical reactions happens in the human body. They're all biochemistry happens. There are several enzymes. Why can't we use these? Because they're all happening in the system. There is the only water and aqueous phases. All these things are there in the body system. Why can't we apply the same technology in the industry to make medicines? So when I asked this, why can't we do the biotransformation reactions? The Kagati University professors admired the concept, but how you do it? Then I said, sir, I will carry out those reactions in the reactors. How? We'll provide the media where we can do this. Then Kagati University Warangal professor said, okay, for that you have to do pre-PhD, then you enrolled for and registered. The long story short, finally, my title or application of enzymes in the chiral resolution of amines, because most of the organic compounds are either amines or carboxylic acids. So, for especially when the chiral resolution technology is involved. So that concept, that was my basis of it. Then successfully completed. And because there is one great thing happened during this thing. And finally, after my development capabilities, the customer came back to us and given several projects.
Wow, wow.
That company growth and revenues have doubled, tripled, and it went like anything. And we multi-tonnages, and we one of the technologies, we became largest producer in the world, and it became in the global top best suppliers in the top one list. So this is what happened is a technology of a, of a kind which was introduced by the customer and made us to, something big. Again, in the business principles, I always believe one philosophy of Dr. Our Mahatma Gandhi said is customer is the God in the terms of the business. So from then I started prioritizing what the customer needs. Then my skills of my PhD, all these things improved my quality of my approach, quality of my these. Then further, it again led me to academic interactions. So during academic interaction, they were impressed, and some of the academic interactions, they took up me as their council member. Then later I became a chairman of the councils. Then again, to change some of the syllabus for the students, then I also, got an opportunity to interact as the advisor to the several academic councils in our country, especially, recently in Geetham, I took up as advisor to the school level advisory committee member, which was nominated by the industry thing. These are all, I can say. But again, in the academy also, I started implementing these innovation centers and this thing, because we need to have a future generations where they should be very close to the industry. The academy should be very close. Then only the sustainability can be achieved. That's what my belief was. Then that is continued, and we also I tried to do something about in the Bedol Act, where there is no academic inventions are not having they don't have any protection. So other than they cannot, there is no other alternative to join the industry. So they have to join the industry. So but of course, in our country, unfortunately, the Bedol Act has not passed. But it is somewhere it is lagging. So, but again, this not my this thing, but we can always bridge the gap with my earlier academic, interactions, academic collaborations. So later it led me to, after getting this, then again I became examiner for patents, led me to several challenges in industry. We got again done for the registered for the PhDs. And again, there's a lot of challenges, a lot of success experienced by me. That's all I can share about my, which is a non-technical story, a part of the entire PhD program. And again, it's all leading to the final, the crux of this is again by the customer who is strictly implementing about ESG principles in those good. Yes.
Right, right. Wow, that is so powerful, sir. And it's one thing to look at published research, but it gives a whole new dimension when you actually know the real reason, the story, and emotion behind it. So thank you for sharing that with us. So, Dr. Rao, you've been recognized with patents across India, Europe, and the US. And that's not just impressive, it's a testament to how your innovations have touched lives worldwide. So I'm curious, and I believe our audience would also love to hear what's the story behind that one invention of yours that truly resonates in your heart? That one you still think about with pride and a bit of emotion even today.
Yeah, I'm a self-committed scientist with a deep, sense of maintaining a trade secret at industrial innovations or inventions or innovations. So actually, the invention to become innovation, it needs a lot of transformation
Right.
because invention just an idea, but whereas innovation it should have something commerce, business, and other things I will add to that. So to make it happen at innovation, uh, there is a lot of work has to be done. The teamwork has to be involved. So frankly and purely speaking, it's all most of the inventions or patents which I filed are involved. They're all of a teamwork because my idea is
Absolutely.
mine, but again, it has to be practiced. The concept has to be proved in the lab, and it has to go to the commercial scale. So there is a lot of stages until it becomes the patentable invention, and until it becomes the commerce, until it revenue start generating. So all these things happen. There is a lot of cycle is there for every invention.
Right. Right.
So, but purely when I started, my interest started when I, started recording my lab bench inventions. Then I realized there is a very good, what I mean to say, importance why I'm doing this. So for that, I searched for it. Then I realized that US patent law in those days is the first inventory system. Means
Right.
whoever files the patent for invents first, he gets the patent. So it's not that who was filing the patent, who invents the patent. So the first invent system was practicing in those days by US because most of the customers are US based. So I was concentrating more on US laws. That was the first realization from my side at the bench. Then I started working on that. Then I published a paper in India. First one, that was my first paper published in Indian Journal of Pharmaceutical Education. That was a chance where I started teaching my teachers. Sir, this is what is happening. Why you have to incorporate this laboratory bench record system, the practices, all these things. Although it is research or a concept development is not regulated, but there are certain things which are very important.
Right.
So that made me to, go further. Then I started working on, US patents, and, I try to, something working on them. So, but again, the first invent system was abolished in the year 2013 by US, and now that also transformed to the first filing system. So since then, my change, for orientation towards the patents and all these things, and much more interest being created by the challenges. So the journey was going on. But once what happened was, there was something emotional thing happened in my life. So I was taking care of one of my closest relatives in my family, where the patient was suffering from BHP, that is the benign prostate hyperplasia. Usually this type of condition is not that so harmful, but again it causes a lot of problems in the patients, especially the adult males. They find this prostate hyperplasia.
Right.
So, and there was a doctor prescribed a medicine. Then that doctor told me that, sir, this medicine is not available in the market. You need to import it. Oh, then further that challenge has solved some of the ways of how to get the drugs to get for the
Right.
patients in India. Then there is some forms to be filled. Then I went to drug control department. I filled forms, and we were importing that medicine. It was very expensive. Then the only reason was the patent invention was very high. So there should be someone who should do it in India to make it affordable. So that affordability comes only through India. So fortunately, I was a very fortunate person. When after in just of 1 year span, I got the project from one of the customer from USA.
Right.
Then when I started working on that, then there is alpha blocker where I did research, and finally the concept has been evolved as a I would say it is really highly commercial, economic with the technology advancement. All these things happened. It became a very successful innovation at large scale production.
Right.
Then the price of the drug has fallen like anything. And the drug again, it's entered into Indian markets at a very affordable price. That was very, then everybody were very happy. That's all I witnessed openly in my family life.
Right.
Then later what happened, the real happiness again, when entire world was closed, shut down during COVID times, some of the customers were there, they are all interested about, to make some of the COVID treating molecules and other things.
Right. Right.
Then we did a lot of industrial research work, and the tough days during COVID time, we just made a drug available for treating some of the conditions of during COVID time.
Right.
So that the entire world got benefited. So company revenues multiple, triple, four times, like this went on. There is great sustainability in the business has achieved even during a COVID and very tough days. So that's all I can, emotionally connected to these my aspects during my journey in the strategic innovation in the company.
Wow. Wow, so that is so, it's so amazing how deeply personal innovation can be. And thank you so much for sharing that story with us, Dr. Rao.
Yeah, please, yeah.
So, Dr. Rao, I was going through your profile, and honestly, I had to pause for a moment. You are the chairman of an academic council, secretary of IORD, and even
Yes.
an advisor shaping national health policies. That genuinely makes me wonder what's at the core of this drive, this need to keep giving back, keep making a difference. What motivates you?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Actually, I always believe one thing. If you share the knowledge, knowledge grows. I may be a
Rose.
little selfish in that.
Right.
So I start whether it is advocating in IP, whether working on this academic syllabus or whatever it is. So that's all. I believe that knowledge grows only when you share. So I advocated a lot of these innovations in academics. So somehow I became a council member. They're all one part of the story. Again, when I started journey as a secretary of IORD, I received a great blessing from a former president, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Then there was we all started, several individuals who like-minded, we started this journey together. So during that process, the journey was, all filled with the challenges.
Right.
Then one day what happened was, we all decided, let us give the representation to the Prime Minister of the country, that is Sri Narendra Modi sir. When we wrote to Narendra Modi, Sri Narendra Modi sir, then what happened was, he immediately replied back
Wow.
with a great response. Then
Wow.
he connected us to the health ministry. Then health ministry, that was led to then we became one of these technical team members to amend the act, that Indian Drugs and Cosmetic Act. So there is a subject on rare diseases and orphan drugs were incorporated with our inputs. A common man reaching, I'm very fortunate being an Indian, a common man reaching the
Yes.
Prime Minister,
Prime Minister.
going to and integrating all these things. But that is not again 100% accomplishment. The heart of do is a sense of action. I always feel, as it was, in the after when we refer to this autobiography of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, it says like this: the another unfinished agenda of my life is rare diseases. So that again it touched.
Right.
And and he says, while looking at a noble cause, he says his unfinished agenda of his life. So at the heart of everything I do is a sense of unfinished responsibility, I feel. A calling that began in my childhood when a simple pill saved my life, and
Right.
the doctor redirected my gratitude towards unseen hands behind the cure. So that moment planted a seed in me, and the belief that real change happens not just in treatment rooms, but in laboratories. It has to work in the laboratories.
Right.
And again, in the classrooms where, that some medical genetic subjects like miracles to be taught in the classrooms. And again, it has to be debated when when the patients are not, at least the rights of living with good health, not receiving. The courts are directing. So it has to happen in the courtrooms.
Right.
And finally, that has to happen in the boardrooms.
Okay.
And most importantly, in consciousness. This is what I feel about, when I say it's responsible for that. What motivated me day by day is the human face of the science. It's the voice of the mother who lost her child because of the delayed diagnosis. It is the story of the rural student who didn't know what is rare disease even existed. It is the
Right.
realization that gap between the innovation and access is not just a technical.
Right.
It
Right.
is deeply personal, often painful, and often urgent. I have come to that knowledge is only as powerful as good as it creates. So whether I am shaping the patent strategy, mentoring young scientists, and advocating policy reform, I carry with me the lived experience of the people who can't afford to wait for the systems to catch up.
Right.
That's what drives me to keep going, and it is not my ambition, but accountability to those who have no voice in the room. And giving back is not an act of generosity for me.
Right.
It is a duty born out of my gratitude.
Wow. Wow.
A responsibility to the people or mentors, because I had several mentors like Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam and mentors like Dr. Professor Rao M Mutyala from Minnesota University, USA, and the patients who shaped my path.
Right.
And it is a duty that pushes me to constantly step beyond titles and boundaries, to serve where I can, to build where there are gaps, and to lead not from power, it from the purpose. So it is from the pill to the purpose. That's all I can share for your question.
Thank you so much for sharing something so meaningful and personal, Dr. Rao. It truly highlights why your leadership has made such a remarkable impact. So thank you for doing what you're doing. So, Dr. Rao, we've talked about your incredible journey so far, your innovations, your leadership, your contributions beyond the corporate world. But when you think about the future, both personally and professionally, especially in terms of your aspirations in the boardroom, what's next for you?
Yeah, my aspirations in boardroom stem not only from not only from the scientific and legal training, but also from lifelong commitment to service through innovation, ethics, and education.
Wow.
So I have having journeyed from bench chemist to the patent law expert and educator to a public health advocate, I have come to understand that leadership in today's world must blend compassion with strategy and vision with accountability. So in the boardroom, I see myself contributing meaningfully to ethical and inclusive governance, especially in sectors like pharmaceuticals, healthcare, and biotechnology, where decisions directly affect the human lives. So my aim is to advocate for sustainable innovation, ensuring that the research investments not only lead to the market success, but also solve the real problems for understand undeserved populations. It should be affordable to reach that.
Right.
And particularly in the areas like rare diseases, where the systemic gaps are remain. There are 8,000 rare diseases and there are only not more than 500 drugs are available as of now in the world. And these drugs are again being manufactured in India, being exported to the world. but they're not available to the Indian population. These gaps will be filled. I also aspire to mentor and shape future leaders, creating a culture. The culture is the one which, because I see several companies, they do well in the first generation, they do well maximum in the second generation, but third generation, they start getting such.
Right.
The reason is that there is no proper culture inculcated in the principles of the company. So,
Right.
so the culture should be, created where the next generation is equipped not just with the knowledge, but with the ethical compassion to lead responsibility. The boardroom should be, I feel more than a decision-making arena. It's not, it should be a learning space. There is a time to learn, time to listen the stories, time to listen to what the society is talking about. So this is the what the present boardroom should think. This is my opinion. So yeah, then drawing from a past where it is establishing one that first industry academic PhD collaborations and advocating rates, all these things, I want to bridge a gap between the grassroots realities and executive decisions. That has to be gap should be filled.
Right.
I believe governance can be visionary when informed by the lived experiences and community narratives and scientific evidences. It's all very much required when you are, when aspiring to the boardrooms. And ultimately, my goal is to steward of transformation, I'm expecting, and guiding organization toward purposeful leadership, evidence-based strategies, and last and finally, the long-term impact and benefits which both shareholders and society at the large. Then only the sustainability can be achieved in long run, forever.
Absolutely.
That's what I believe.
Wow, Dr. Rao, your passion and clarity about the future ambitions really resonates, and we genuinely wish you all the best in reaching those milestones. So, Dr. Rao, we did talk about ESG in one of the previous questions when you were answering about patents. So, and lately, whenever I speak to leaders across industries, ESG seems to be right at the heart of every conversation, especially in sectors like pharmaceuticals and healthcare. And given your extensive experience and the unique position you are in, I'm genuinely curious. What do you feel pharma leaders should prioritize right now to ensure they are not only meeting these ESG mandates, but also making decisions that are genuinely ethical for the people they ultimately serve?
Yeah. Again, being a experienced person from R&D side, I prioritize the most important thing that is innovation. Innovation at every segment of the product life cycle. What it means, innovation to lead to affordability. That is access and affordability. Again, it is a social mandate. I feel it is another ethics.
Right.
And we must prioritize equitably access to the essential medicines, especially in low and middle income populations. That every pharma leader should focus on that, I feel. And you must have a use-style pricing strategies should be implemented. And voluntary licensing, because I see several court cases are pending, even in the Supreme Court, it is going to come in another couple of weeks' time that the judgment is going to come. There is a when the patent is not available for the public use, and the patent drug is very expensive, it's not reaching. There is Indian laws have given a lot of emphasis on the, how to licensing it. There are several provisions of their Indian laws. So every farmer look into the Indian laws. And we should develop a culture of local manufacturing partnerships. So with all these things, whenever we do any accessibility and affordability type of goals in the pharma leader to meet those, I must feel always one must question himself or herself, are we creating models that balance shareholder returns with societal needs? That's all you have to question, every pharma leader question himself or herself. Then there should be a transparent in governing the especially clinical practices, because the human life is involved there.
Right.
And we have to strengthen this transparency in the clinical trial data, especially around the diversity and adverse events. This what happened during my visit to the Spain, Barcelona, where there is the World Health Assembly discussion was going on. They have prioritized this. There should be transparency in clinical practices. So it has to again evolve. And there again, one has to question that, is our research pipeline serving global health priorities, or just it's the profitable ones? Then, apart from what I said, what I shared, all, and there are some more things there, especially it happens during when I started working on business responsibility, sustainability reporting. We have to satisfy the supply chain. Sustainable supply chain is most important, and which is environmental and societal needs we have to meet. And we have to build a resilient and ethical supply chain with low environmental impact and fair labor practices. Transition towards, again, as a, during my PhD, and the ESG importance and all these things taught me, we must sustain with even a green chemistry and sustainable packaging.
Right.
At large scale. That's what, when you do all these things, again, one has to question, do our operational choices reduce harm across the value chain? Or is our raw materials are reaching, that means what I mean to say, in the entire product cycle, it starts with the raw materials to the end finished products.
Right.
And again, that entire thing, the sustainability, again, finally, the main objective should reach the patient care. So we have to question is our operational choices reduce the harm across the value chain? That has to be looked into it, that has to question by every himself, by every, pharma leader.
Right.
And there is integration is needed, especially responsible AI and digital health integration is much needed. This in the governance in the pharma sector.
Right. Absolutely.
So with what I feel with AI-driven diagnostics and drug, then privacy and transparency, and we have to avoid the bias of the. We have to mitigate the bias. One ethical question again: are we the digital tools are reinforcing health equity and exacerbating disparities?
Right.
And finally, the workflow or force or well-being, we have to again DEI, that social care, that embedded diversity, equity and inclusion in the leadership pipelines, R&D teams, and global operations.
Right.
And again, as I said, we have to foster a culture of priorities, prioritizing employees' mental health and other ethical whistleblowing protections. We have to do it. And does our culture they reflect the values in the promote the externally that we have to evaluate.
Right.
Governance beyond compliance, shift from compliance-based governance to the principle-driven governance. That's what I believe. With the ESG matrices, tied directly to executive incentives, that's what is another remedy measure available for governance beyond the compliance. Set a precedent for independent, ESG oversights. And again, every pharma leader should question himself that leadership decisions align with our stated values, with even when nobody is watching. So that's all I can tell about for pharma leader apart from mandate of ESG. Yeah.
Wow, wow. Thank you for so much, such a thoughtful perspective, Dr. Rao. It clearly shows that ESG isn't just a compliance checkbox in your world, it's a principle of action. So, Dr. Rao, before we wrap up, I'd love to hear your thoughts on something a little more personal. You've recently joined the Directors Institute community, and from your perspective, how has that experience shaped your thinking or added value to your journey as a leader?
There is a stage I reached in my life. I find myself as, facing a new challenge now. When I face the new challenge, that is what I describe as a self-identified zone of incompetence. So when you're dealing with the global governance systems, then I realized that there must be somebody, a guru or the way forward, and I need somebody who can take me through. So when during that search, I found this Director Institute. Then which is globally connected, academically rigorous and practically oriented programs they're offering. And there is, even the learning models, and there is several reasons to move with the, to start my journey with the DI.
Right.
But before starting, this is my, always my approach. That is, I always do a process of SQ3R. SQ3R is means first I do always survey, then I always question myself and question about what I want to achieve, what I want to accomplish. Then,
Right.
so secondly, there is a 3R, that is the first I review the thing and then read the thing, and finally I have to recite. So what I feel, I just share my bullet point as a bullet, because to crime constraint it enhance. I hope it definitely enhance the board effectiveness during my practices and promotes the
Right.
global standards
Right.
participation who are learning international governance frameworks. Because when I
Absolutely.
say international governance framework, there is at one point of time when my student was facing a question from the examiner during PhD days, there is something called OECD. Are
Okay.
you followed OECD principles when you are working on a preclinical trials? These are all questions raised, because at that time we were not competent enough to give an answer. Now, after joining this direct institute, now I have an answer that Organization
Wow.
for Economic Cooperation and Development principles can be aligned if you person go through this, and again with the global expectations,
Absolutely.
and improves again the risk oversight. The business risk assessment and risk management is very, very, very important. This most of the thing they cannot even sustain even for the next generation. This is what, because this what is to be realized, and DI definitely it boosts knowledge in that area also. And again, when you have a knowledge in these, it definitely boosts the stakeholder confidence. Companies with well-trained, globally aware boards tend to attract more investors. That's what I feel.
Right.
And
Right.
again, finally, it encourages the diversity, I feel, in an inclusion. And exposure to international promotes the diversity of thought and inclusive governance approaches. This is all I can share about my DA, and I'm very new to this, but because of my SQ3R thing, and I gone through it, this is what I am going to get benefit of it.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much for, sharing that with us. And it's truly rewarding to hear how the Institute has contributed to your journey, or will contribute to your journey. And I hope that, whatever you've planned for yourself, whatever your ambitions are, this curriculum really helps you achieve those. Okay, so I just have to say that this conversation has been nothing short of inspiring. We've covered everything from your groundbreaking work in pharma and IP to your dedication to rare diseases governance and national health policy.
Yeah, thank you so much. I genuinely enjoyed this dialogue. It is very rare, I would say, to find spaces and allow you to reflect and connect and share beyond just milestones. And thank you so much.
Wow, wow. That's exactly what we hope to create with FaceTime with Leaders, a space where wisdom meets purpose and stories aren't just told but felt. To our audience, if something today sparked a new perspective or challenged your thinking, don't let it stop here. Share it with someone, have a discussion, ask that question in your boardroom or team meeting. Leadership isn't about titles, it's about impact, and conversation like these help us move forward together. Thank you for joining us today. I'm your host Charu Mehra, and this has been FaceTime with Leaders, brought to you by Directors Institute. Until next time, lead boldly, listen deeply, and stay inspired. Thank
Thank
you.
you.